How to reprogram your mind while you sleep. The method Joseph Murphy almost never published. Introduction. What if the last 5 minutes before you fall asleep tonight and the first 5 minutes when you wake up tomorrow are the two most powerful windows you will ever have to rewrite your entire life? Not your schedule, not your to-do list. The deep, automatic patterns that control how much money you make, how healthy you feel, how confident you show up in relationships, and whether you wake up excited or anxious about the day ahead. Joseph Murphy knew this secret in 1963. He wrote it in a book that sold more than 10 million copies. He healed people who were told their conditions were permanent. He helped broke factory workers become wealthy business owners. He helped anxious, sleepless people find peace that medication could not touch. And he did all of this with one simple, repeatable method that anyone can use while lying in bed at night. But here is what breaks your heart when you discover it. Most people who buy his book never finish it. Most people who finish it never apply it. Most people who try to apply it do it backwards, or half-heartedly, or for 3 days before deciding it does not work. Then they go back to scrolling through social media, complaining about their lives, and wondering why nothing ever changes. You have been one of those people, or you are about to stop being one. This 2-hour session is not a quick summary you will forget by tomorrow. This is not a rush through bullet points that sends you on your way. This is a deep dive into Joseph Murphy's actual method, the one he taught in packed auditoriums, the one he wrote about in 1963, the one that modern neuroscience is now confirming was decades ahead of its time. You will learn exactly how to use your sleep as a reprogramming tool. You will get chapter-by-chapter techniques you can apply tonight. You will hear a real 30-day journey, the mistakes that almost killed it, the exact turning points that proved this was not placebo, and a 15-minute guided sleep practice at the end that you will use literally tonight as you drift off. By the end of this session, you will have a complete system. You will understand why your subconscious mind controls 90% of your results. You will know how to impress your desires upon it while you sleep. You will have affirmations that actually work, not the fluffy ones you see on Instagram. You will know how to stop the negative self-talk that sabotages you before you even get out of bed. You will have a visualization method so vivid, so emotionally charged, that your subconscious cannot ignore it. And you will have that guided sleep practice that begins rewiring your mind for the life you actually want. But this is not passive entertainment. This is not background noise while you wash dishes. This is an active reprogramming session. You will be asked to pause at certain points and actually do the work. You will be asked to write things down. You will be asked to feel things you might not want to feel. Your skepticism will be challenged. Your cynicism will be challenged. Your comfortable excuses will be challenged. Because Joseph Murphy's method only works if you work it. And this session is not interested in wasting your time. So here is what you do right now. First, bookmark this video. Not for the algorithm, for yourself. You will want to return to specific chapters. You will want to replay the sleep technique in Chapter 3. You will want to revisit the affirmations in Chapter 6. You will want to use the guided practice at the end as your nightly ritual. This is not a one-time watch. This is a tool you will use repeatedly. Second, grab a notebook. Something physical, not your phone, not a digital note. A real notebook and pen. Because writing by hand impresses ideas deeper into your subconscious. You will need this for the exercises. You will need this for the affirmations you create. You will need this for the 30-day tracking you are about to learn. Third, decide on one desire. Just one, not 10, not your entire vision board. One specific thing you want to change, achieve, or experience in the next 30 days. Financial, health-related, relationship, confidence. Pick one. Write it at the top of your notebook. Everything in this session focuses on that one desire. Murphy was clear. The subconscious responds to clarity, not confusion. Most people fail because they bombard their minds with too many conflicting wishes. You are ready, you have your notebook. You have your one desire. You are about to enter the world of Joseph Murphy. And if you give this method the commitment it demands, your life will not look the same 30 days from now. You will not think the same. You will not feel the same. you will not sleep the same, and you certainly will not wake up the same. Welcome to Mindset Audiobooks. This is how you reprogram your mind while you sleep. Let us begin. Chapter 1. Who was Joseph Murphy and why his method still works? To understand why Joseph Murphy's method works, you have to understand the man himself, not the myth, not the simplified version you see quoted on motivational posters. The actual person, with his actual doubts, his actual journey, and his actual breakthroughs, because Murphy was not born believing in the power of the subconscious mind. He was not some mystical guru who floated down from a mountain with ancient wisdom. He was a man who suffered, who questioned, who searched, and who eventually found something so profound that he spent the rest of his life teaching it to anyone who would listen. Joseph Murphy was born in 1908 in a small town in Ireland. He grew up in a Catholic family, in a Catholic culture, surrounded by religious ritual and spiritual language. But Murphy was not satisfied with ritual. He was not satisfied with being told what to believe. He wanted to understand the mechanism behind belief. He wanted to know why prayer worked for some people and not for others. He wanted to know why some people seemed to attract health and success effortlessly, while others, no matter how hard they worked, stayed stuck in poverty and illness. This curiosity led him to join the Jesuit order. He studied for the priesthood. He immersed himself in theology, philosophy, and the ancient traditions of contemplative prayer. But even within the church, he felt a pull towards something more practical. He was not interested in doctrine for doctrine's sake. He wanted to help people. He wanted to relieve suffering. He wanted to give ordinary men and women tools they could use in their daily lives to transform their circumstances. So Murphy made a bold decision. He left the Jesuit order and moved to the United States. He became a minister in the Church of Divine Science, one of the New Thought movements gaining traction in America during the early 20th century. New Thought was controversial. It taught that the mind had creative power. It taught that thoughts were things. It taught that human consciousness could influence material reality. To many religious traditionalists, this sounded like heresy. To many scientific materialists, it sounded like superstition, but to Murphy, it sounded like the missing piece. He began teaching and lecturing. He started small, in church basements and community halls, but his message was so clear, so practical, and so grounded in real results that word began to spread. People would come to his lectures struggling with illness, and they would leave with a method for mental healing that actually worked. People would come broke and anxious, and they would leave with a technique for impressing prosperity upon their subconscious minds. Murphy was not just talking about positive thinking. He was talking about a specific, repeatable process for reprogramming the automatic patterns that controlled every area of life. By the 1950s, Murphy had become one of the most popular New Thought ministers in the country. He was giving lectures to thousands of people. He was writing books that were being translated into multiple languages. And in 1963, he published the book that would become his masterpiece, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. This was not a theoretical treatise. It was a manual, a how-to guide. A step-by-step instruction book for using the subconscious mind to achieve health, wealth, happiness, and peace. But here is the part that most people miss. Murphy was not just a spiritual teacher. He was deeply interested in science. He read widely in psychology, neurology, and the emerging field of brain research. He was fascinated by the work of people like Ivan Pavlov, who had demonstrated conditioned responses in animals. He was intrigued by the discoveries about the autonomic nervous system, which controlled bodily functions without conscious effort. He saw, decades before modern neuroscience would confirm it, that the brain operated on multiple levels, and that the deeper levels held far more power than the surface, rational mind. This is why his method still works today, not because it is mystical, not because it requires faith in something unprovable, but because it aligns with how the brain actually functions. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Murphy intuited. You now know that the subconscious mind, or what neuroscientists might call the implicit memory system, and the basal ganglia, controls the vast majority of your behavior. You now know that habits, emotional responses, and automatic beliefs are stored in neural pathways that operate below the level of conscious awareness. You now know that these pathways can be changed, but not through willpower alone. They require repetition, emotional intensity, and specific states of consciousness where the conscious mind's resistance is lowered. The sleep state is one of those states. When you are drifting into sleep, your brain produces theta waves. These are slower, more relaxed brain patterns that bridge the gap between waking consciousness and deep sleep. In this theta state, the critical analytical part of your mind begins to quiet down. The gatekeeper relaxes, and the subconscious becomes more receptive to new impressions. This is not pseudoscience. This is measurable, observable, and well documented in sleep research. Murphy did not have access to EEG machines in 1963, but he understood this principle through observation, through the reports of his students, and through the ancient wisdom traditions that had used sleep and prayer as healing tools for thousands of years. Murphy also understood something that modern cognitive behavioral therapy has since validated. Your subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. If you create a mental scene, complete with sensory details and emotional charge, your subconscious will respond to it as if it were an actual experience. This is why visualization works. This is why athletes who mentally rehearse their performances see measurable improvements in their physical results. This is why people who vividly imagine themselves confident and successful begin to act in confident and successful ways, even before their external circumstances have changed. But Murphy went further than visualization. He understood that the feeling was the secret, not just the image, not just the words, the feeling, the emotional state, because your subconscious responds to emotion far more powerfully than it responds to logic. You can tell yourself 1,000 times that you are wealthy. But if you feel poor, if you feel anxious, if you feel scarcity in your body, your subconscious will register the feeling, not the words, and it will continue to create experiences that match that feeling of scarcity. This is why so many affirmations fail. People say the words, but they do not change the feeling, and the feeling is the command. Murphy's method was designed to change the feeling. His sleep technique was specifically crafted to bypass the conscious mind's resistance and impress a new feeling directly onto the subconscious. He taught people to imagine their desire fulfilled, to feel the reality of it, and then to drift into sleep in that feeling. He taught them to do this night after night, with patience and persistence, until the subconscious accepted the new impression and began to express it in their waking lives. This is not magic. This is not wishful thinking. This is the systematic reprogramming of automatic mental patterns, and it works because it respects how the brain actually operates. It works because it uses the natural rhythms of sleep and wakefulness. It works because it understands that willpower is limited, but subconscious reprogramming is virtually unlimited once you know how to access it. Think about your own life right now. What are the patterns that keep repeating? What are the situations that keep showing up, no matter how hard you try to change them? Maybe it is financial stress. Maybe it is relationship conflict. Maybe it is health issues. Maybe it is a sense of stagnation, of being stuck, of watching other people move forward while you stay in the same place. These patterns are not random. They are not bad luck. They are the expressions of your subconscious beliefs. They are the outer results of inner impressions that were made years ago, perhaps in childhood, perhaps through repeated experiences, perhaps through the constant repetition of fearful or limiting thoughts. And here is the liberating truth that Murphy discovered. Those impressions can be changed. Those patterns can be rewritten. The subconscious is not a fixed, unchangeable entity. It is a faithful servant that takes its orders from the dominant ideas you present to it. If you present new ideas consistently with feeling over time, the subconscious will accept those new ideas and begin to express them. It will bring new opportunities to your attention. It will guide your actions in new directions. It will attract people and circumstances that align with your new mental patterns. This is not because the universe is magically rearranging itself for you. It is because your own mind, your own perception, your own behavior has changed, and the world responds to that change. Joseph Murphy spent his life teaching this. He died in 1981, but his work has never been more relevant than it is today. In a world of constant distraction, of information overload, of anxiety and uncertainty, people need a method for inner transformation that actually works. They do not need more theory. They do not need more motivation. They need a practice, a nightly practice, a daily practice. A systematic way to take control of the 90% of their mind that is running on autopilot. That is what you are going to build in this session. You are going to go deep into Murphy's actual techniques. You are going to strip away the fluff and get to the mechanics. You are going to look at how to use your sleep as a tool for reprogramming. You are going to examine the affirmations that actually work. You are going to explore the visualization method that creates real emotional change. And you are going to put it all together into a 30-day protocol that you can start tonight. But before you get to the techniques, you need to understand the architecture of your mind. You need to understand the relationship between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. You need to understand why your conscious efforts have failed in the past and why your subconscious power is the key to everything you want. That is Chapter 2. And once you understand this distinction, you will never look at your own thoughts the same way again. So stay with me, keep your notebook ready, remember that one desire you wrote down, and prepare to discover the most powerful tool you have ever possessed. It is not your education, it is not your network, it is not your talent, it is your subconscious mind, and it is waiting for your command. Chapter 2, The 2 Levels of Your Mind, Understanding the Operator. Imagine yourself standing on the bridge of a massive ocean liner. The ship stretches for hundreds of feet in every direction. Thousands of passengers depend on its safe passage. The engines below generate enough power to move a small city across the open sea. You hold the wheel, you chart the course, you give the orders, you feel in control. But here is what you do not see. 3 decks below you, deep in the belly of the ship, the engine room hums with relentless activity. Massive turbines spin, fuel burns, water pumps circulate, temperature gauges monitor, safety systems stand ready, hundreds of crew members work in perfect coordination, following procedures that were established long before you ever touched the wheel. They do not ask your permission for every action. They do not wait for your command at every turn. They operate on training, habit, and automatic response. If a fire breaks out, they extinguish it before you even know it exists. If an engine overheats, they adjust it while you are still looking at the horizon. If the ship needs more power, they provide it without a word from you. You are the captain, but the engine room runs the ship. This is exactly how your mind operates. Your conscious mind is the captain on the bridge. It reasons, it plans, it makes decisions, it analyzes information, it holds temporary memories, it exercises willpower when you force yourself to do something difficult. But your subconscious mind is the engine room. It controls your heartbeat. It regulates your breathing. It digests your food. It maintains your body temperature. It stores every memory you have ever formed. It runs your habits. It triggers your emotional responses. It shapes your beliefs. And it does all of this automatically, without your conscious permission, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, from the moment you are born until the moment you die. Joseph Murphy understood this distinction better than almost anyone in his era. He saw that most people were trying to change their lives by shouting orders from the bridge while completely ignoring the engine room. They would set goals with their conscious minds. They would make resolutions. They would read motivational books. They would attend seminars. They would tell themselves, this time will be different. And then they would wonder why nothing changed. They would wonder why their habits stayed the same. They would wonder why their emotional patterns kept repeating. They would wonder why their bank accounts stayed empty, their relationships stayed broken, and their health stayed fragile. The answer is simple. The captain was giving orders, but the engine room was following old programming. The captain was saying, go east, but the engine room had been trained for decades to go west. The captain was demanding prosperity, but the engine room had been conditioned for scarcity. The captain was commanding confidence, but the engine room had been imprinted with fear. And in every case, the engine room won, not because it was stronger, not because it was evil, but because it was automatic. It did not need willpower. It did not get tired. It did not forget. It simply executed the dominant impressions it had received over and over until they became hardwired into its operating system. Your conscious mind is incredibly limited. It can hold approximately 7 pieces of information at once. It gets exhausted after a few hours of focused effort. It forgets things constantly. It changes its mind. It gets distracted. It is easily influenced by mood, fatigue, hunger, and external stimuli. Your conscious mind is a powerful tool for analysis and decision-making, but it is a terrible tool for long-term behavior change. It simply does not have the capacity to monitor and control every automatic process in your body and mind. Your subconscious mind, by contrast, is virtually unlimited. It processes millions of bits of information every second. It never sleeps. It never forgets. It stores every experience you have ever had, every emotion you have ever felt, every belief you have ever accepted. It runs your entire physical body without a single conscious thought from you. It beats your heart approximately 100,000 times per day. It takes approximately 23,000 breaths for you. It processes every drop of blood through your kidneys. It repairs your cells. It fights infections. It grows your hair. It does all of this while you are completely unaware, completely unable to interfere even if you wanted to. And here is the most important fact you will learn in this entire session. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between a real experience and an imagined experience that is vividly felt. It accepts whatever you impress upon it with emotional intensity and repetition, and it begins to express that impression in your body, your behavior, your perceptions, and your circumstances. If you impress fear, it creates conditions that match fear. If you impress abundance, it creates conditions that match abundance. If you impress illness, it creates conditions that match illness. If you impress health, it creates conditions that match health. It is not moral. It is not judgmental. It is not wise. It is a faithful servant that takes the dominant idea and makes it manifest. This is why your conscious efforts have failed in the past. You have been trying to change your engine room by shouting from the bridge. You have been using willpower, which is a conscious mind function, to fight habits, which are subconscious mind functions. You have been making New Year's resolutions with your conscious mind, while your subconscious mind held the exact opposite belief. You have been telling yourself to be confident, while your subconscious mind held memories of humiliation and rejection. You have been trying to earn more money, while your subconscious mind held the belief that rich people are evil or that you do not deserve wealth. Willpower versus subconscious programming is like a flashlight against a tsunami. The flashlight is bright. The flashlight is focused. But the tsunami is automatic, massive, and unstoppable. Murphy's genius was recognizing that you cannot fight the subconscious. You must work with it. You must speak its language. You must impress new ideas upon it in the states where its resistance is lowest. You must feed it new images, new feelings, new beliefs, with consistency and emotional intensity until those new impressions become the dominant ideas. And then the subconscious, being faithful and automatic, will begin to express those new ideas just as powerfully as it expressed the old ones. Think about your own life for a moment. What are the areas where you have tried and failed repeatedly? Maybe you have tried to quit a bad habit. You used willpower. You white-knuckled through the first few days. You felt proud of yourself. And then, suddenly, without warning, you found yourself doing the exact thing you swore you would not do. You were not weak. You were not lacking discipline. Your conscious mind simply ran out of energy, and your subconscious mind took over, executing the old program because that was the only program it had. Maybe you have tried to change your financial situation. You read books about investing. You made budgets. You cut expenses. You worked extra hours, but somehow unexpected expenses always appeared. Opportunities slipped away. Deals fell through. Emergencies drained your savings. Your conscious mind was doing everything right, but your subconscious mind held a belief about money that attracted scarcity. Perhaps you grew up hearing that money is the root of all evil. Perhaps you watched your parents struggle and internalized the belief that life is hard. Perhaps you were shamed for wanting more. Whatever the origin, your subconscious was running a program of limitation, and no amount of conscious effort could override it permanently. Maybe you have tried to improve your relationships. You read communication books. You practiced active listening. You went to therapy. You tried to be more vulnerable. But the same conflicts kept repeating. The same types of people kept showing up. The same emotional wounds kept getting triggered. Your conscious mind wanted love and connection, but your subconscious mind held beliefs about unworthiness, about abandonment, about betrayal, that kept attracting situations that confirmed those beliefs. You were not broken. You were not doomed. Your engine room was simply following its programming. The good news is that programming can be changed. The subconscious is not a fixed, unchangeable entity. It is a learning system. It learned everything it knows through repetition and emotional intensity, and it can learn new things through the same mechanisms. This is why Murphy's method works. It does not rely on willpower. It does not rely on conscious effort. It relies on impressing new ideas upon the subconscious during the states where the conscious mind's resistance is lowest. The moments before sleep, the moments upon waking, the moments of deep relaxation. In these states, the critical, analytical gatekeeper steps aside and the subconscious becomes receptive to new impressions. But you must understand something crucial. The subconscious does not respond to words alone. It responds to feeling. It responds to the emotional charge behind the words. You can say, "I am wealthy" 1,000 times, but if you feel poor, if you feel anxious, if you feel scarcity in your body, your subconscious registers the feeling, not the words. The feeling is the command. The feeling is the impression. The feeling is what gets stored in the engine room and executed automatically. This is why so many affirmations fail. People treat them like magic spells. They say the words and wait for the universe to respond, but the universe is not responding to words. Your subconscious is responding to feelings, and if your feelings do not match your words, nothing changes. Murphy taught that you must get the feeling of your desire fulfilled before it manifests in your external world. You must feel wealthy before the money arrives. You must feel healthy before the healing completes. You must feel loved before the relationship improves. You must feel confident before the success comes. This is not delusion. This is not pretending. This is impressing a new emotional pattern upon the subconscious so that the subconscious can begin to express that pattern in your behavior, your perceptions, and your circumstances. When you feel wealthy, you make different decisions. You notice different opportunities. You approach conversations differently. You carry yourself differently, and the world responds to that difference. Your conscious mind is the chooser. It selects the ideas, the images, the goals. Your subconscious mind is the creator. It takes those ideas and brings them into physical expression, but the creator only responds to what is impressed upon it with feeling. If you choose prosperity but feel poverty, the creator expresses poverty. If you choose health but feel disease, the creator expresses disease. If you choose love but feel loneliness, the creator expresses loneliness. Your job is not to force the creator to obey. Your job is to align your feeling with your choice so that the creator can do what it does best. Bring your dominant ideas into manifestation. This is the architecture of your mind. This is why you have struggled. This is why willpower alone has never been enough. And this is why Murphy's method, properly understood and properly applied, can change everything. Because it works with the engine room, not against it. It speaks the language of feeling, not just the language of words. It uses the natural states of sleep and relaxation where the subconscious is most receptive. And it does so with patience and persistence, knowing that the subconscious is a creature of habit that requires consistent repetition to rewire its patterns. You now understand the two levels of your mind. You know that the captain is important but limited. You know that the engine room is where the real power lives. You know that the engine room follows the dominant impression. not the conscious wish. And you know that the key to changing your life is changing the impression you give to your engine room, with feeling, with repetition, and with the wisdom to work with your subconscious rather than against it. In the next chapter, you are going to learn the master key. You are going to learn the exact technique that Murphy taught for impressing your desires upon the subconscious while you sleep. This is not theory. This is a practice. This is something you will do tonight before your head hits the pillow. And if you do it correctly, with the understanding you now have, you will begin to feel a shift that no amount of conscious effort has ever produced. Your engine room is waiting. Your subconscious is listening. And the method you are about to learn is the most direct, most powerful, most reliable way to give it new orders that it will faithfully execute. Stay with me. Chapter 3 is where everything becomes real. Chapter 3, The Sleep Technique, Murphy's Master Key. This is the chapter you will bookmark. This is the chapter you will return to. This is the chapter that contains the single most important technique Joseph Murphy ever taught, the technique he considered the master key to the subconscious mind, the technique that healed the sick, enriched the poor, and transformed the lives of everyone who applied it with patience and persistence. You are not reading a summary anymore. You are receiving a method. You are receiving a practice. You are receiving something you will use tonight, tomorrow night, and every night until your desire becomes your reality. Murphy called this the sleep technique. Others have called it the nighttime method, the drowsy state process, or the subconscious impression practice. The name does not matter. What matters is the mechanism. What matters is that you understand why it works, how it works, and exactly what steps to follow. Because this technique, more than any other, leverages the natural state of your brain to bypass conscious resistance and plant new ideas directly into your engine room. You already know from Chapter 2 that your subconscious mind never sleeps. It operates 24 hours a day, processing information, maintaining your body, and executing the dominant impressions it has received. You already know that the subconscious responds to feeling more than words, to imagination more than logic, and to repetition more than intensity. Now you are going to learn how to use the specific state of sleep, or more precisely the state just before sleep, to deliver a new impression with maximum impact and minimum resistance. When you begin to drift into sleep, your brain changes. Your brain waves slow down. Your beta waves, which dominate your waking, alert, analytical state, give way to alpha waves, which are associated with relaxation and light meditation. As you go deeper, alpha waves transition to theta waves. Theta is the bridge between waking and sleeping. It is the twilight state. It is the hypnagogic state. It is the moment when your conscious mind, your critical factor, your analytical gatekeeper, begins to loosen its grip. And in that loosening, your subconscious mind becomes extraordinarily receptive. Modern neuroscience has confirmed what Murphy observed through decades of practice. During theta wave activity, the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for critical analysis, logical reasoning, and skepticism, shows reduced activity. Meanwhile, the limbic system, which processes emotion and memory, becomes more active. This means that in the theta state, your brain is more open to emotional impressions and less likely to reject them with doubt or criticism. This is exactly why Murphy chose sleep as the primary vehicle for subconscious reprogramming, not because it is mystical, because it is neurological. Here is the technique. Study it, memorize it, practice it tonight. Step 1. Get physically comfortable. You cannot impress your subconscious while your body is tense, uncomfortable, or distracted. Lie down in your bed, adjust your pillows, settle your limbs, take 3 slow, deep breaths, feel your body sinking into the mattress. Release the tension in your shoulders, release the tension in your jaw, release the tension in your hands. Your physical relaxation signals your nervous system that it is safe to let go. Your physical relaxation is the first invitation to your subconscious to open its doors. Step 2. Bring your desire to mind in one clear sentence. You wrote down one desire at the beginning of this session. Now is the time to use it. Not 10 desires, not a vague wish. one specific, clear, simple desire. State it to yourself in the present tense as if it is already accomplished. For example, I am now earning $10,000 per month, or I am completely healthy and full of energy, or I am in a loving, supportive relationship. The sentence must be short, it must be specific, it must be personal. And it must be stated as a fact, not a hope. Murphy emphasized that the subconscious does not respond to hopes, wishes, or maybes. It responds to commands. It responds to statements of fact. When you say, I hope I get rich, your subconscious registers hope, which means not having. When you say, I am wealthy, your subconscious registers wealth, which means having. The feeling behind the words must match the statement. You must feel the reality of the statement, not the wanting of it. Step 3. Imagine a scene that implies your desire is fulfilled. This is where most people fail. They say the words, but they do not create the scene. Your subconscious thinks in pictures, not paragraphs. It responds to mental movies, not mental lectures. So you must construct a brief, vivid scene that would only be true if your desire were already accomplished. If your desire is financial abundance, imagine yourself holding a check for the exact amount you want. See the numbers, see your name, feel the paper in your hands, hear the sound of your voice as you tell someone the good news, feel the smile on your face, feel the relief in your chest, feel the gratitude in your heart. If your desire is health, imagine yourself running, or dancing, or playing with your children, or doing whatever your healthy body would do. Feel the strength in your legs. Feel the ease in your breathing. Feel the joy of movement without pain. If your desire is a relationship, imagine a specific scene with your partner, a dinner, a walk, a conversation. Feel the warmth of their hand, hear the tone of their voice, feel the safety and love between you. The scene must be short, 30 seconds is enough. It must be specific, it must be sensory, and it must imply the fulfillment of your desire. Do not imagine the process of getting there. Do not imagine yourself working hard or struggling or waiting. Imagine the end result. Imagine the done deal. Your subconscious responds to the end state, not the journey. Step 4. Feel the reality of that scene emotionally. This is the secret. This is the part that separates the people who transform their lives from the people who read books and do nothing. You must feel the emotional reality of your scene as if it were happening right now. Not wishfully, not hopefully. Actually, your subconscious does not distinguish between a vividly felt imagination and a real experience. The feeling is the command. The feeling is the impression. The feeling is what gets stored in your engine room and executed automatically. So ask yourself, how would I feel if this were true right now? Would I feel relief? Would I feel joy? Would I feel gratitude? Would I feel peace? Would I feel excitement? Whatever the feeling is, generate it in your body. Feel it in your chest. Feel it in your stomach. Feel it in your smile. Let it expand. Let it warm you. Let it become more real than your current circumstances. Murphy wrote that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the vibration that attracts its fulfillment. He did not mean this in a mystical law of attraction sense. He meant it in a practical psychological sense. When you feel wealthy, you make wealthy decisions. When you feel healthy, you make healthy choices. When you feel loved, you behave in lovable ways. The feeling changes your behavior, your perception, your energy, and your circumstances. The feeling is the cause. The manifestation is the effect. Step 5. Drift to sleep in that feeling. This is the final and most important step. You do not jump out of bed and start checking your phone. You do not start thinking about tomorrow's problems. You do not let doubt creep in. You maintain the feeling of your wish fulfilled as you drift deeper into sleep. You let the feeling be the last impression your subconscious receives before the night takes over. You let the feeling echo in your mind as you cross the bridge from waking to sleeping. You let the feeling become the seed that your subconscious waters and grows while you rest. Murphy taught that the subconscious is most impressionable in the moments before sleep and the moments upon waking. These are the two golden windows. The nighttime window plants the seed. The morning window reinforces it. So when you wake up tomorrow, before you open your eyes, before you reach for your phone, before you start thinking about your problems, return to your scene. Return to your feeling. Spend 2 minutes in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Let that be the first impression of your new day. Let that set the tone for your subconscious as you rise. Now you might be thinking, this sounds simple. It sounds too simple. Where is the complexity? Where is the difficulty? Where is the hard work? And that is exactly why most people dismiss it. They expect transformation to be complicated. They expect it to require struggle. They expect it to feel like effort. But Murphy understood that the subconscious does not respond to effort. It responds to feeling. And feeling is effortless when you know how to generate it. You might also be thinking, what if I cannot feel it? What if it feels fake? What if I try and nothing happens? These are valid concerns. They are the concerns of your conscious mind, your analytical gatekeeper, your skeptic. And here is what you must understand. Your conscious mind will resist. Your conscious mind will doubt. Your conscious mind will say, this is silly, this is delusional, this is not working. That is its job. That is what it has been trained to do. Your job is not to argue with it. Your job is to bypass it. Your job is to drop below the level of argument and enter the state of feeling. The feeling does not need to be perfect. It does not need to be overwhelming. It just needs to be sincere. It just needs to be the best feeling you can generate in this moment. And with practice, the feeling will deepen. With practice, the scene will become more vivid. With practice, the doubt will fade into the background. Murphy told a story about a woman who came to him with severe arthritis. She had tried everything, medication, physical therapy, special diets, nothing worked. Murphy taught her the sleep technique. He told her to imagine herself dancing at her daughter's wedding. He told her to feel the joy of movement, the freedom of her body, the gratitude for her health. She told him it felt impossible. She told him she could not imagine dancing. She told him the pain was too real. Murphy said, do it anyway. Do it every night. Do it for 30 days. And do not tell me it is not working until the 30 days are over. She did it. She imagined the scene every night before sleep. She felt whatever feeling she could generate, even if it was small, even if it was brief. On day 17, she woke up with less stiffness. On day 24, she walked without her cane for the first time in 2 years. On day 31, she danced at her daughter's wedding. Not perfectly, not pain-free, but she danced, and she wept with gratitude. Because she had reprogrammed her subconscious from a state of disease to a state of health, one night at a time, one feeling at a time. You might not have arthritis, your desire might be different, but the mechanism is identical. Your subconscious controls your body, your subconscious controls your circumstances, your subconscious controls your automatic responses, and your subconscious takes its orders from the dominant impressions you give it, especially in the receptive state before sleep. So here is what you do tonight. You follow the 5 steps. You get comfortable. You state your desire in one clear sentence. You imagine a scene that implies it is fulfilled. You feel the reality of that scene, and you drift to sleep in that feeling. You do not judge the results after one night. You do not analyze whether it is working. You simply do it. You trust the process. You trust your subconscious. You trust that your engine room is receiving new orders and will begin to execute them in its own perfect timing. But there is something you must understand. One night is not enough. One impression is not enough. Your subconscious is a creature of habit. It has been running old programs for years, perhaps decades. One new impression, no matter how vivid, will not override a lifetime of conditioning. This is why so many people try the sleep technique, feel good for one night, and then quit when nothing changes immediately. They do not understand the law of repetition. They do not understand that the subconscious requires consistent, repeated impressions to form new dominant ideas. They do not understand that patience is not optional, it is essential. In the next chapter, you are going to learn why repetition is the law that makes this permanent. You are going to learn why once is never enough, why 30 days is the minimum, and why the people who transform their lives are the people who persist when everyone else gives up. You are going to learn the difference between trying and committing, between experimenting and practicing, between hopping and knowing. Your sleep tonight is the first step. Your commitment over the next 30 nights is what will make it real. Your subconscious is waiting. Your scene is ready. Your feeling is available. And the method you have just learned is the master key that Joseph Murphy gave to the world. Use it tonight, use it tomorrow night, use it until your desire is no longer a wish but a fact, because that is what this technique does. It turns wishes into facts. It turns dreams into reality. It turns the sleeping hours into the most productive hours of your entire day. Your engine room is listening. Your subconscious is receptive. And tonight, before your head hits the pillow, you will give it something it has never received before. A clear command, a vivid scene, a real feeling, and the faithful servant that is your subconscious mind will begin to bring it into expression. Sleep well, dream in reality, and wake up to a new world. Chapter 4, The Law of Repetition, Why Once is Never Enough. You have learned the sleep technique. You know the 5 steps. You understand why the Theta state is the master key. You have imagined your scene. You have felt the feeling. And tonight, before your head hits the pillow, you will practice it for the first time. But here is the truth that will separate you from everyone else who has ever read Joseph Murphy's book and abandoned it. One night is not enough. One impression is not enough. One vivid scene will not override a lifetime of conditioning. The law of repetition is the bridge between a nice idea and a transformed life. And without this law, everything you have learned so far is just entertainment. Think about how you learned to ride a bicycle. You did not sit on the seat once, wobble for 10 seconds, and then glide effortlessly down the street. You fell, you scraped your knee, you got back on, you fell again. You practiced the balance, the pedaling, the steering over and over until your body memorized the pattern, until the movements became automatic, until you no longer thought about how to ride, you just rode. Your subconscious mind had received enough repeated impressions of balance and coordination that it took over. The conscious effort became unconscious competence. Think about how you learned to drive a car. The first time you sat behind the wheel, everything was overwhelming. The pedals, the mirrors, the steering, the traffic signals. You had to think about every action consciously. Your knuckles were white on the wheel. Your heart raced at every intersection. But after weeks of practice, after months of repetition, you could drive while holding a conversation. You could drive while listening to music. You could drive while your mind wandered to completely unrelated thoughts. Your subconscious had absorbed the pattern so thoroughly that it executed it without your conscious attention. This is how the subconscious learns, through repetition, through consistent, repeated impressions, until the new pattern becomes stronger than the old pattern, until the new habit replaces the old habit, until the new belief drowns out the old belief. And this is exactly why most people fail with the sleep technique. They try it once. They feel good for one night. They wake up the next morning, see no immediate miracle, and decide it does not work. They abandon the practice before the subconscious has received enough impressions to override the old programming. They quit at the starting line and wonder why they never reached the finish. Joseph Murphy was absolutely clear about this. He taught that the subconscious is a creature of habit. It does not change quickly. It does not change dramatically. It changes through persistence, through patience, through the steady, relentless impressing of a new idea until that idea becomes the dominant idea. Murphy wrote that prayer is the formulation of an idea concerning something you wish to accomplish. He defined prayer as the soul's sincere desire. Your desire is your prayer, but a prayer said once is a wish. A prayer repeated with feeling, night after night, day after day, becomes a command that the subconscious cannot ignore. You must understand the difference between trying and committing. Trying means you will do it when you feel like it. Trying means you will do it when it is convenient. Trying means you will do it until you get bored or discouraged. Committing means you will do it every single night for 30 days, regardless of how you feel, regardless of whether you see immediate results, regardless of whether your conscious mind doubts the whole process. Committing means you treat this practice like brushing your teeth. You do not brush your teeth once and expect perfect dental health. You do not brush your teeth only when you feel motivated. You do it every day because you know the cumulative effect is what matters. Your subconscious operates on the same principle. The cumulative effect of repeated impressions is what creates change. Each night you practice the sleep technique, you lay down one new layer of programming. One layer is thin, one layer is fragile, one layer is easily overwhelmed by the thick, heavy layers of old conditioning that have been built up over years. But 10 layers are stronger, 20 layers are stronger still, 30 layers begin to form a new foundation. And by the time you reach 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, the new pattern has become so deeply embedded that the old pattern can no longer compete. The new belief has become the dominant idea. The new feeling has become your default state. And your subconscious, being faithful and automatic, begins to express that new state in every area of your life. Murphy told the story of a man who came to him desperate for financial breakthrough. This man had been poor his entire life. He had grown up in poverty. He had watched his parents struggle. He had internalized the belief that money was hard to get, that rich people were corrupt, that he was destined to work hard for very little. His subconscious was programmed for scarcity, and his entire life expressed that scarcity. No matter how hard he worked, no matter how many hours he put in, he could not break through. Murphy taught him the sleep technique. He told him to imagine a specific bank balance. He told him to feel the security of having that money. He told him to practice every single night without fail. The man came back after 1 week and said nothing had changed. Murphy told him to keep going. The man came back after 2 weeks and said he was still broke. Murphy told him to keep going. The man came back after 3 weeks and said he was starting to lose faith. Murphy looked at him and said, "You have spent 40 years impressing poverty upon your subconscious. Did you really think 3 weeks of prosperity would override it?" The man got the message. He committed. He practiced every night for 90 days, not perfectly, not with overwhelming emotion every time, but consistently, relentlessly, patiently. On day 67, he received an unexpected promotion at work. On day 74, an old debt was repaid to him that he had written off years ago. On day 91, he landed a new client that doubled his monthly income. He did not become a millionaire overnight, but he broke the pattern. He proved to his subconscious that prosperity was possible, and once that new pattern was established, it continued to grow. 2 years later, he was earning more than he had ever imagined, not because he worked harder, but because his subconscious had been reprogrammed from scarcity to abundance, one night at a time. This is the law of repetition. It is not glamorous. It is not exciting. It does not make for a good movie montage. It is the slow, steady, unsexy work of impressing a new idea upon your subconscious until it sticks, and it is the only thing that actually works. The people who transform their lives are not the ones who have the most talent. They are not the ones who have the best opportunities. They are not the ones who have the easiest circumstances. They are the ones who persist. They are the ones who show up every night and do the work, even when they cannot see the results. They are the ones who trust the process more than they trust their temporary emotions. You need to know something about your own mind. Your conscious mind will sabotage you. Your conscious mind will find excuses. Your conscious mind will say, "I am too tired tonight, I will do it tomorrow." Your conscious mind will say, "This is not working, I should try something else." Your conscious mind will say, "I do not feel like it, I am not in the right mood." And every time you listen to that voice, you reinforce the old pattern. Every time you skip a night, you tell your subconscious that this new idea is not important. Every time you quit early, you confirm that the old programming is still dominant. You must treat your conscious mind like a child who wants to skip homework. You do not negotiate. You do not reason. You simply do the practice. You make it non-negotiable. You build it into your routine so deeply that skipping it feels stranger than doing it. You brush your teeth every night without thinking. You put on pajamas every night without debate. You must make the sleep technique equally automatic, equally routine, equally unquestioned. Murphy emphasized that the feeling behind the repetition matters. Mindless repetition is not enough. You cannot simply mumble your affirmation while your mind is elsewhere. You cannot visualize your scene while planning tomorrow's schedule. The repetition must be accompanied by feeling. Each night you must bring as much emotional sincerity as you can to the practice. Some nights you will feel it strongly. Some nights you will feel it weakly. Both are fine. The key is consistency. The key is showing up. The key is never missing. Think about the patterns in your own life that have persisted for years, the financial stress that never seems to end, the relationship dynamics that keep repeating, the health issues that flare up whenever you start to make progress, the self-doubt that sabotages every opportunity. These patterns are not random. They are the expressions of subconscious impressions that were made repeatedly, over and over, until they became automatic. You did not choose them consciously. You absorbed them from your environment, your upbringing, your repeated experiences, your constant self-talk. And they became so deeply embedded that they now run without your permission. The only way to replace them is with equally repeated, equally persistent new impressions. You cannot argue them away. You cannot willpower them away. You cannot positive think them away in one afternoon. You must outlast them. You must outrepeat them. You must impress your new desire so consistently, so relentlessly, that the old pattern simply has no room to operate anymore. It is like filling a glass with dirty water. You cannot remove the dirt by wishing it away. You must pour in clean water, slowly and steadily, until the dirty water is displaced. The law of repetition is your clean water. The sleep technique is your pouring mechanism, and 30 days is your minimum starting point. You must also understand that the subconscious does not respond to urgency. It does not respond to desperation. It does not respond to "I need this to happen now." Desperation is a feeling of lack. Urgency is a feeling of not having. And your subconscious, being the faithful servant that it is, will create more experiences that match the feeling of lack and not having. This is why people who are desperate for money tend to repel money. This is why people who are desperate for love tend to repel love. Their subconscious is receiving the dominant impression of desperation, and it is expressing that desperation in their circumstances. Murphy taught that you must approach the sleep technique with a feeling of peace, of confidence, of knowing, not hopping, not wishing, knowing. You must feel that your desire is already on its way. You must feel that the subconscious has received your command and is faithfully executing it. You must feel that your only job is to maintain the impression, and the manifestation will follow in its own perfect timing. This feeling of calm confidence is itself a repetition. It is the emotional repetition that accompanies the mental repetition, and together they create an unstoppable force. So here is your commitment. You will practice the sleep technique every single night for the next 30 days. No exceptions, no excuses, no skipping because you are tired or busy or doubtful. You will get comfortable. You will state your desire. You will imagine your scene. You will feel the reality, and you will drift to sleep in that feeling every night for 30 nights. And you will not judge the results before the 30 days are complete. You will not analyze whether it is working. You will not compare your progress to anyone else. You will simply do the work and trust the law. On day 31, you will look back and see something you cannot see now. You will see that your thoughts have shifted. You will see that your emotions have softened. You will see that your circumstances have begun to bend in a new direction. You will see that the old pattern has loosened its grip. And you will understand why Murphy called repetition the law of life, because life itself is repetition. The heart beats repetitively. The breath flows repetitively. The seasons cycle repetitively. And transformation, real transformation, follows the same law. In the next chapter, you are going to learn about something even more dangerous than inconsistency. You are going to learn about the poison that most people feed their minds every single day without realizing it. You are going to learn why talking about your problems is the fastest way to keep them alive. You are going to learn the silence principle that Murphy considered essential to any real change. And once you understand this principle, you will never speak about your life the same way again. Your 30 days begin tonight. Your subconscious is waiting. And the law of repetition is the guarantee that your new impression will eventually become your new reality. Use it, trust it, repeat it. Chapter 5. Stop broadcasting your problems, the silence principle. You have learned the sleep technique. You have committed to the law of repetition. You are practicing every night, impressing your desire upon your subconscious with feeling and persistence. But there is a poison that most people feed their minds every single day, a habit so automatic that they do not even notice it, a practice so widespread that it seems normal, and yet it is the single most effective way to keep your problems alive and your desires distant. You are about to learn why talking about your problems is sabotaging everything you are trying to build, and why the silence principle is one of Murphy's most uncomfortable but most essential teachings. Murphy had a rule that made people squirm. He taught that you must never finish a negative statement. He taught that your words are commands to your subconscious mind. He taught that every time you describe your illness, your poverty, your failure, your fear, your disappointment, you are impressing that very condition more deeply into the engine room that controls your life. And your subconscious, being the faithful servant that it is, receives those words, accepts those feelings, and begins to create more experiences that match them. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about pretending everything is fine when it is not. This is about understanding the mechanism of your own mind and taking radical responsibility for the impressions you are creating. You already know that your subconscious responds to dominant ideas. You already know that repetition makes those ideas permanent. Now you must understand that your spoken words are one of the most powerful forms of repetition available to you. And most people use their words to reinforce exactly what they do not want. Think about your last 24 hours. How many times did you say something negative about yourself? How many times did you complain about your finances? How many times did you describe your health problems to someone who asked how you were doing? How many times did you recount a story of betrayal, disappointment, or failure? How many times did you say, "I am so stressed," or "I am exhausted," or "I cannot catch a break," or "nothing ever works out for me"? Each one of those statements was a command. Each one was an impression. Each one was a seed planted in your subconscious. And your subconscious, loyal and automatic, said yes to every single one. Murphy understood this better than most. He watched people come to his lectures desperate for change. They would learn the sleep technique. They would begin to practice it. They would start to feel a shift. And then they would go to work the next day and spend their lunch hour describing every detail of their problems to a sympathetic colleague. They would go home and vent their frustrations to a family member. They would post their struggles on social media and receive a flood of validating comments. And by the time they went to bed, they had undone most of the progress they had made the night before. They had impressed their problems upon their subconscious more vividly, more emotionally, more repeatedly than they had impressed their desire. The sympathetic ear is one of the most dangerous traps you will face. It feels good to be heard. It feels good to be understood. It feels good to have someone validate your pain. But every time you tell your story of struggle, you relive it. Every time you relive it, you reinforce it. Every time you reinforce it, you make it more permanent. The person listening to you is not helping you. They are witnessing your subconscious programming in real time. They are watching you dig your own hole deeper, and they are doing it with the best of intentions. Murphy taught that you must break this habit immediately. You must stop broadcasting your problems. You must stop describing your limitations. You must stop finishing negative statements. And when you catch yourself doing it, you must reverse it on the spot. This is not about suppressing your emotions. This is not about denying your reality. This is about taking control of the programming mechanism that is creating your reality. Here is the practice. When you catch yourself saying something negative, you stop immediately. You do not continue the sentence. You do not elaborate. You do not explain why you said it. You stop, and then you reverse it. You replace the negative statement with its positive opposite. You say it out loud if possible. You feel the difference in your body. You let the new statement register in your subconscious as a correction. For example, if you catch yourself saying, "I am always broke," you stop, you take a breath, and you say, "Wealth is flowing to me now. I am receiving abundance in unexpected ways." You do not have to believe it fully. You do not have to feel it overwhelmingly. You simply have to say it. You have to give your subconscious a new command to counter the old one. You have to interrupt the pattern before it becomes a full impression. If you catch yourself saying, "I am so tired of being sick," you stop. You reverse it. You say, "My body is strong. My health is improving every day." Infinite intelligence is restoring me to perfect health. Again, you do not need to feel it perfectly. You need to say it sincerely. You need to give your subconscious a new direction. You need to stop feeding the disease and start feeding the healing. If you catch yourself saying, "My relationships are a mess," you stop. You reverse it. You say, "I am surrounded by love and harmony. I attract healthy, supportive relationships. I am worthy of deep connection." You are not lying. You are not deluding yourself. You are programming. You are impressing. You are giving your engine room new orders. This practice is called the silence principle, not because you must never speak, but because you must never speak your problems into greater existence. You must become silent about what you do not want. You must become vocal about what you do want. You must starve the old pattern of the attention and description it needs to survive. And you must feed the new pattern with words, with feeling, with repetition, until it becomes dominant. Murphy told a powerful story about a woman who suffered from chronic anxiety. She had been in therapy for years. She had talked about her anxiety endlessly. She had described every panic attack in detail. She had analyzed her childhood traumas until she could recite them in her sleep. And yet her anxiety never improved. In fact, it seemed to get worse the more she talked about it. She came to Murphy skeptical but desperate. He told her something that shocked her. He told her to stop talking about her anxiety, completely, to anyone, for 30 days. He told her that if someone asked how she was, she should say, "I am wonderful, I am at peace, life is good." He told her that if she felt anxiety rising, she should not describe it. She should simply affirm, "I am calm, I am serene, divine peace fills my mind." He told her that if she slipped and started talking about her problems, she must immediately reverse it with a positive statement. She resisted. She argued that she needed to process her feelings. She argued that bottling things up was unhealthy. She argued that her friends would think she was fake. Murphy listened patiently and then said, "You have been processing your feelings for years. Your anxiety has only grown. What do you have to lose by trying something different for 30 days? She committed. She stopped talking about her anxiety. She stopped describing her symptoms. She stopped seeking sympathy. And she started affirming peace, calm, and serenity every time the old pattern tried to speak through her. The first week was torture. Her mind screamed for the old release. Her body craved the familiar adrenaline of worry, but she persisted. She reversed every negative statement. She maintained her silence about problems. By day 14, she noticed something strange. The anxiety was still there, but it was quieter. It was less intense. It did not hijack her mornings the way it used to. By day 21, she had her first full day without a panic attack in 3 years. By day 30, she could not remember the last time she had felt truly anxious. She had not solved her childhood traumas through analysis. She had not processed her feelings through endless conversation. She had simply stopped feeding the anxiety with words, and she had started feeding peace with affirmation. Her subconscious had received a new dominant impression, and it had begun to express that new impression in her body, her emotions, and her circumstances. This is the power of the silence principle. It is not about denial. It is about direction. Every word you speak is a direction to your subconscious. Every conversation is a programming session. Every complaint is a reinforcement of the very condition you want to escape. And every positive statement, even when it feels forced, is a new seed planted in fertile ground. You must become ruthless with your speech. You must monitor your words the way a security guard monitors a perimeter. You must catch every negative statement before it completes itself. You must reverse it immediately. You must replace it with something that serves your desire, not your fear. And you must do this not just in big conversations, but in the small, casual, automatic things you say throughout the day. When someone asks how you are, what do you say? Do you say not bad, which means barely acceptable? Do you say hanging in there, which means struggling? Do you say could be worse, which means things are already bad? These phrases seem harmless. They are social conventions, but your subconscious does not understand social conventions. It understands dominant ideas. And every time you say not bad, you are impressing mediocrity. Every time you say hanging in there, you are impressing struggle. Every time you say could be worse, you are impressing the possibility of worse. Murphy taught his students to answer differently, to say, "I am wonderful," to say, "I am blessed," to say, "Everything is working out perfectly," not because these statements are magically powerful in themselves, but because they impress a new dominant idea upon the subconscious. They shift the direction of your programming. They starve the old pattern and feed the new one. You must also become aware of the stories you tell, the stories about your past failures, the stories about how you were wronged, the stories about why you cannot succeed. These stories are not harmless entertainment. They are programming sessions. Every time you tell the story of your bankruptcy, you reinforce the belief that money is dangerous. Every time you tell the story of your heartbreak, you reinforce the belief that love is painful. Every time you tell the story of your health scare, you reinforce the belief that your body is fragile. Your subconscious records these stories as facts, and it creates your future to match them. You must write new stories. You must speak new narratives. You must describe your life the way you want it to be, not the way it has been. You must talk about your health as if it is perfect. You must talk about your finances as if they are abundant. You must talk about your relationships as if they are harmonious. And you must do this even when the evidence seems to contradict you, because the evidence is the result of old programming. And the new programming will create new evidence, but only if you persist. This is the silence principle: silence about problems, vocality about solutions, silence about limitations, vocality about possibilities, silence about the past, vocality about the future. It is uncomfortable. It is counterintuitive. It goes against every impulse to vent, to process, to seek validation. But it works. It works because it respects the mechanism of your mind. It works because it stops feeding the enemy and starts feeding the ally. It works because it makes your words align with your desire, not with your fear. You are practicing the sleep technique every night. You are committed to the law of repetition. Now you must add the silence principle to your daily practice. Catch every negative statement. Reverse it immediately. Speak only what you want to see manifested. Become silent about what you do not want. And watch how quickly your subconscious begins to receive a clear, consistent, unconfused message. In the next chapter, you are going to learn your daytime weapon. You are going to learn the affirmation method that Murphy used to keep his mind programmed while awake. You are going to learn how to create affirmations that actually work, how to say them with feeling, and how to integrate them into your daily routine so that your subconscious receives new impressions around the clock. Because the sleep technique is powerful, but the sleep technique combined with daytime affirmation is unstoppable. Your words are your wand. Use them wisely. Chapter 6. The Conscious Affirmation, Programming While Awake. You have learned the sleep technique that impresses your desire upon the subconscious while your conscious guard is lowered. You have committed to the law of repetition that makes those impressions permanent. You have embraced the silence principle that stops you from feeding your problems with words. Now you need a daytime weapon. You need a method for keeping your subconscious programmed while you are awake, while you are working, while you are driving, while you are walking, while you are doing the mundane tasks that fill your waking hours. That weapon is the conscious affirmation, and Murphy used it constantly throughout his day. Affirmations are not what most people think they are. They are not magic spells. They are not wishful thinking. They are not empty phrases repeated while hoping the universe will rearrange itself for you. Affirmations are commands to your subconscious mind. They are deliberate impressions designed to replace old beliefs with new ones. They are mental vitamins taken throughout the day to keep your subconscious fed with the dominant idea you want expressed. And when constructed correctly and felt sincerely, they are one of the most powerful tools for conscious reprogramming available to you. Murphy taught that an effective affirmation must meet 4 criteria. It must be short, it must be positive, it must be in the present tense, and it must be felt. If any one of these elements is missing, the affirmation loses its power. It becomes empty words. It becomes background noise. It becomes something your subconscious ignores while it continues executing the old programming. Short means 1 sentence, maybe 2, not a paragraph. not a manifesto. Your subconscious responds to clarity, not complexity. When you bombard it with long, complicated affirmations, you dilute the impression, you confuse the command, you give your engine room too many instructions at once, and it defaults to the old pattern because that is what it knows. A short affirmation is a sharp command. It cuts through the noise. It lands with precision. Positive means stating what you want, not what you do not want. Your subconscious does not process negation well. When you say, "I am not sick," your subconscious registers the dominant idea of sickness. The word "not" gets lost. The impression that remains is illness, so you must flip it. Instead of "I am not sick," you say, "I am healthy and full of energy." Instead of "I am not poor," you say, "Wealth flows to me freely." Instead of "I am not lonely," you say, "I am surrounded by love and friendship." Every affirmation must describe the desired state in positive, vivid terms. Present tense means stating your desire as if it is already accomplished. Your subconscious does not understand future time. It operates in the now. When you say, "I will be wealthy someday," your subconscious registers someday, which means not now. It creates a permanent state of waiting. It keeps your desire always in the future, always out of reach. So you must say, "I am wealthy now." You must say, "I am successful now." You must say, "I am healthy now." Even if the evidence seems to contradict you, especially if the evidence seems to contradict you, because the evidence is the result of old programming, and the new programming will create new evidence. Felt means the emotional charge behind the words. This is the element that separates effective affirmations from useless ones. You can say, "I am wealthy" 1,000 times, but if you feel poor, if you feel anxious, if you feel scarcity in your body, your subconscious registers the feeling, not the words. The feeling is the command. The feeling is the impression. The feeling is what gets stored in your engine room and executed automatically. So how do you generate the feeling when your circumstances seem to contradict your affirmation? Murphy taught that you must use your imagination. You must create a brief mental scene, just as you do in the sleep technique, and you must let that scene generate the feeling. When you say your affirmation, you do not just say it. You see it. You feel it. You experience it as a reality in your mind. The affirmation becomes the trigger for the mental movie, and the mental movie generates the emotional charge that makes the impression stick. Here are 5 affirmations that Murphy used and taught. You can use them exactly as written, or you can adapt them to your specific desire, but study them carefully. Notice how they meet all 4 criteria. Notice how they are short, positive, present tense, and emotionally charged. Infinite intelligence guides me in all my affairs. This affirmation connects you to a sense of universal wisdom and direction. It dissolves anxiety about decisions. It creates confidence that you are being led to the right outcomes. When you say it, imagine yourself standing at a crossroads and feeling a clear, warm light showing you the exact path to take. Feel the relief of knowing you cannot make a wrong choice. Wealth is flowing to me now from expected and unexpected sources. This affirmation opens your mind to abundance in all forms. It removes the limitation of how money must come. It prepares your subconscious to notice opportunities it would otherwise miss. When you say it, imagine a river of gold light flowing toward you from every direction. Feel the warmth of it. Feel the generosity of it. Feel that you are worthy of receiving it. My body is a temple of the living spirit. It is strong, healthy, and full of vitality. This affirmation impresses health upon your subconscious. It replaces the belief in disease with the belief in wholeness. When you say it, imagine every cell in your body glowing with radiant light. Feel the strength in your muscles. Feel the ease in your breathing. Feel the perfection of your natural design. I am surrounded by love and harmony in all my relationships. This affirmation transforms your social world. It dissolves conflict. It attracts supportive people. It changes how you show up in every interaction. When you say it, imagine yourself in a circle of warm, smiling faces. Feel the safety, feel the acceptance, feel the deep connection that needs no words. I am successful in all my undertakings. Divine guidance leads me to my highest good. This affirmation covers every area of life. It creates a blanket of confidence. It removes the fear of failure. It programs your subconscious for achievement. When you say it, imagine yourself completing a project and feeling the deep satisfaction of accomplishment. Feel the pride, feel the expansion, feel the certainty that more success is coming. Now here is how you integrate these affirmations into your daily routine. Murphy taught that the best times for affirmation are the moments when your mind is relaxed but awake. The morning, just after waking, before the rush of the day begins. The evening, just before sleep, as you transition into the Theta state. And throughout the day, during the mundane moments when your mind would otherwise wander into worry or distraction. When you wake up before you open your eyes, say your chosen affirmation 3 times, feel it, see it, let it be the first impression of your new day. When you shower, say it again, let the water become a symbol of cleansing and renewal. When you drive, say it at every red light. When you walk, say it with every step. When you wait in line, say it instead of checking your phone. When you cook, say it as you stir. These mundane moments are golden opportunities. They are moments when your conscious mind is occupied with simple tasks and your subconscious is open to receiving new impressions. Murphy called this the busy person's technique. You do not need to set aside an hour for meditation. You do not need to retreat to a monastery. You need to use the time you already have. You need to turn your daily routine into a programming session. Every mundane task becomes a chance to impress your desire upon your subconscious. Every ordinary moment becomes sacred. Every repetition strengthens the new pattern. But there is a trap you must avoid. The trap of saying affirmations mechanically. The trap of mumbling them while your mind is elsewhere. The trap of treating them like a chore to check off your list. An affirmation said without feeling is like a letter written but never sent. It has no destination. It has no impact. It has no power. So here is the test. After you say your affirmation, ask yourself, did I feel anything? Did my body respond? Did my chest expand? Did my breathing deepen? Did a smile appear on my face? Did I feel even a flicker of the reality I am describing? If the answer is no, you said it. You did not affirm it. You spoke words. You did not create an impression. And your subconscious, being precise and literal, received nothing. The feeling does not need to be overwhelming. It does not need to be ecstatic. It needs to be sincere. It needs to be the best feeling you can generate in this moment. Some days you will feel it strongly. Some days you will feel it weakly. Both are fine. The key is consistency. The key is showing up. The key is never letting a day pass without giving your subconscious at least one clear, felt impression of your desire. You must also create your own personalized affirmation. The general affirmations are powerful, but your specific desire deserves its own specific command. Take your one desire, the one you wrote at the beginning of this session, and craft a single sentence that describes it as already accomplished. Make it short, make it positive, make it present tense, and then practice feeling it every time you say it. For example, if your desire is to earn a specific amount of money, your affirmation might be, I am now joyfully receiving $10,000 every month. If your desire is to heal a specific condition, your affirmation might be, my body is completely healed and radiating perfect health. If your desire is to attract a specific relationship, your affirmation might be, I am now in a deeply loving and supportive partnership. The more specific, the more powerful. The more personal, the more felt. Murphy told a story about a salesman who had been struggling for years. He was talented. He worked hard, but his sales were mediocre. He came to Murphy discouraged and confused. Murphy asked him what he said to himself throughout the day. The salesman admitted that he constantly thought, I am not good at closing deals. My prospects always say no. The competition is too tough. Murphy told him to create one affirmation and repeat it 50 times daily. The salesman chose, I am a master salesman. Every presentation I make results in a sale. He said it in the morning. He said it before every meeting. He said it after every rejection. He said it in his car. He said it in the elevator. He felt it as best he could. Within 30 days, his sales had doubled. Within 90 days, he was the top performer in his company. He had not learned new techniques. He had not changed his product. He had changed his subconscious belief about himself. And his behavior, his energy, his confidence, his ability to read prospects, all shifted automatically because his engine room was now running a new program. This is what affirmations do. They reprogram the self-image. They change the dominant idea. They alter the automatic responses that create your results. And when combined with the sleep technique, they create a 24-hour programming cycle. The sleep technique plants the seed at night. The daytime affirmation waters it. The repetition makes it grow. The silence principle protects it from negative counter-programming. Together, these tools form a complete system for subconscious transformation. You now have the sleep technique. You have the silence principle. You have the affirmation method. But Murphy had one more tool that creates an impression so vivid, so emotionally charged, that your subconscious cannot ignore it. It is the tool that turns abstract ideas into concrete experiences. It is the tool that makes your desire feel real before it becomes real. It is the visualization method, and it is the subject of the next chapter. Your words are your wand, your affirmations are your spells, and your subconscious is waiting to receive them. Chapter 7. The Visualization Method. Seeing is Believing. Your subconscious mind does not think in words. It does not process paragraphs. It does not respond to abstract concepts or logical arguments. Your subconscious mind thinks in pictures. It responds to sensory experiences. It creates reality from the mental movies you feed it, frame by frame, scene by scene, feeling by feeling. And if you have been saying affirmations without creating vivid mental images, you have been speaking a language your subconscious barely understands. Visualization is the translation tool that turns your words into experiences your subconscious can execute. And Joseph Murphy considered this method so powerful that he taught it as the companion to every affirmation and the heart of every sleep technique. You already know that your subconscious cannot distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. Modern neuroscience has confirmed this through decades of brain imaging studies. When you imagine yourself running, the same motor regions of your brain activate as when you actually run. When you imagine yourself speaking confidently, the same speech centers light up as when you are at a podium. When you imagine yourself healthy and strong, the same healing responses begin as when you are actually recovering. Your brain does not know the difference. And your subconscious, which receives its instructions from your brain's activity, responds to the imagined experience exactly as it would respond to the real one. Murphy understood this long before the machines could measure it. He taught that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is generated by a mental scene, not a static photograph, not a vague daydream, a living, breathing, moving, sensory-rich scene that you create in your imagination and inhabit with your full emotional presence. This scene is the blueprint your subconscious uses to build your new reality. And the more detailed, the more vivid, the more emotionally charged the scene, the faster your subconscious begins to express it. Here is how you construct a visualization that actually works. You begin with your one desire. You already wrote it at the beginning of this session. You already crafted an affirmation for it in the previous chapter. Now you are going to create the scene that makes that affirmation feel real. Scene must be short. 30 seconds is the maximum. Most people make the mistake of creating long, elaborate stories. They imagine the entire journey from struggle to success. They visualize every step, every obstacle, every triumph, and their subconscious receives a confused, diluted impression. Murphy taught that your subconscious responds to the end state, not the process. It responds to the done deal, not the work in progress. So your scene must depict your desire as already fulfilled. It must show you enjoying the result, not earning it. It must show you living in reality, not arriving at it. The scene must be specific. General visualizations fail because they lack emotional impact. You cannot visualize being wealthy and expect a strong impression. Your subconscious needs concrete details. It needs to see the exact amount in your bank account. It needs to feel the texture of the check in your hands. It needs to hear the specific words someone says to you. It needs to smell the leather of the new car. It needs to taste the champagne at the celebration. The more sensory details you include, the more real the scene becomes to your subconscious, and the more powerfully it responds. The scene must imply your desire is fulfilled. This is the subtle art that separates effective visualization from wishful thinking. You do not visualize yourself asking for a raise. You visualize yourself celebrating the raise you already received. You do not visualize yourself hopping for health. You visualize yourself running on the beach with perfect vitality. You do not visualize yourself searching for love. You visualize yourself waking up next to your partner feeling deeply connected and safe. The scene implies the fulfillment. It assumes the completion. It lives from the end. Here is an example for financial abundance. Imagine yourself sitting at your desk on a bright morning. You open your laptop. You log into your bank account. You see a specific number that represents your desired monthly income. You feel your chest expand with gratitude. You feel a smile spread across your face. You pick up your phone and call someone you love. You say, "I just checked my account. Everything has changed. I want to take you to dinner tonight to celebrate." You hear the joy in their voice. You feel the warmth of their appreciation. You hang up and look out your window at the world that now feels full of possibility. You take a deep breath and feel the security, the freedom, the peace that comes from knowing you are taken care of. That scene takes approximately 20 seconds. It includes sight, sound, touch, emotion, and relationship. It implies the desire is fulfilled. It feels real. And if you create that scene every night before sleep, if you feel it deeply, if you drift into sleep in that feeling, your subconscious will begin to express that reality in ways your conscious mind cannot predict. Here is an example for health. Imagine yourself standing at the top of a hiking trail. The sun is warm on your skin. The air is clean and crisp. You begin to walk and your legs feel strong, light, and energized. You breathe deeply and your lungs fill effortlessly. Your heart beats with steady power. You reach a viewpoint and look out at a vast landscape. You feel gratitude flooding your body. You feel invincible. You feel alive. You raise your arms in triumph and laugh out loud. The sound echoes. You feel the vibration of your own joy. You know with absolute certainty that your body is perfect. Again, approximately 20 seconds. Again, sensory richness. Again, the end state. Again, the feeling that makes the impression stick. Murphy taught that you should create one primary scene for your one desire and repeat it consistently. Some people think they need to visualize something different every time. They think variety keeps the practice fresh. But your subconscious does not want variety. It wants repetition. It wants the same clear impression, impressed over and over until it becomes the dominant idea. So choose your scene carefully, refine it until it feels natural, and then use it every single time. The feeling is what transforms visualization from mental entertainment into subconscious programming. You can see the scene perfectly and still fail if you do not feel it. The feeling is the electrical charge that burns the image into your subconscious memory. So after you construct your scene, ask yourself, how would I feel if this were actually happening right now? Would I feel relieved? Would I feel joy? Would I feel gratitude? Would I feel peace? Would I feel excitement? Whatever the feeling is, generate it in your body. Let it expand. Let it warm you. Let it become more real than your current circumstances. This is not a delusion. This is not pretending. This is impressing a new pattern upon your subconscious. Your current circumstances are the result of old impressions. Your new circumstances will be the result of new impressions. The visualization is the delivery system. The feeling is the activation code. And the repetition is what makes it permanent. Murphy told a story about an athlete who had been injured and told he would never compete again. The doctors were certain. The scans were clear. The damage was irreversible. But the athlete came to Murphy desperate. He could not accept the end of his career. Murphy taught him the visualization method. He told him to create a scene of himself winning his event. He told him to feel the exact sensations. The starting position, the gun, the explosion of power, the wind against his face, the roar of the crowd, the tape breaking against his chest, the medal around his neck, the tears of triumph. The athlete practiced this scene every night for 6 months. He did not just see it, he felt it, he lived it. He made it so vivid that his subconscious could not distinguish it from reality, and slowly, miraculously, his body began to respond. The healing that had stalled started progressing. The tissues that had been declared permanent began regenerating. The strength that had been lost began returning. 8 months after his injury, he competed again. 12 months later, he won his event. The doctors called it a miracle. Murphy called it the natural response of a subconscious mind that had been given a new impression with sufficient feeling and repetition. You might not be an athlete. Your desire might be completely different, but the mechanism is identical. Your subconscious controls your body. Your subconscious controls your circumstances. Your subconscious creates your reality from the dominant impressions it receives. And visualization is the most direct way to deliver a new impression with maximum emotional impact. You must also understand that visualization is not escape. It is not a way to avoid your current reality. It is a way to create a new one. When you visualize your desire fulfilled, you are not denying your present challenges. You are impressing a new pattern that will eventually replace them. You are planting a seed that will grow into a tree. You are writing a new script that your subconscious will eventually perform. The current reality is the old script playing out. The visualization is the new script being written. So practice your scene now. Close your eyes if you are in a safe place to do so, or simply soften your gaze and let your imagination take over. Create your 30-second scene, make it specific, make it sensory, make it imply the fulfillment of your desire. Feel the reality of it. Let the feeling expand in your chest. Let it become warm. Let it become real. And know that every time you do this, you are reprogramming your subconscious at the deepest level. You now have 4 tools working together. The sleep technique plants the seed at night. The silence principle protects it from negative counter-programming. The affirmations water it throughout the day. And the visualization gives it the vivid, emotional charge that makes it unmistakable to your subconscious. These 4 tools form the foundation of Murphy's method. But tools without a plan are just potential. Information without application is just entertainment. You need a protocol, you need a map, you need a 30-day structure that integrates everything you have learned into a daily practice that becomes automatic. That is what the next chapter gives you. The next chapter is the integration. The next chapter is where everything comes together into a system you can follow starting tonight. And the next chapter is where you move from student to practitioner, from theory to transformation, from hopping to knowing. Your scene is ready, your feeling is available, and your subconscious is waiting to receive the most vivid impression you have ever given it. Chapter 8, the 30-day reprogramming protocol, your personal map. You now possess every tool Joseph Murphy taught. You understand the 2 levels of your mind. You know the sleep technique that impresses your desire while your conscious guard sleeps. You have committed to the law of repetition that makes new impressions permanent. You have embraced the silence principle that starves your problems of the words that feed them. You have learned the affirmation method that keeps your subconscious programmed throughout your waking hours. And you have mastered the visualization method that turns abstract desires into vivid emotional experiences your subconscious cannot ignore. But tools scattered across a workbench do not build anything. Tools organized into a system, followed with discipline, transform raw material into masterpiece. This chapter is your blueprint. This chapter is your protocol. This chapter is the 30-day map that turns everything you have learned into a daily practice that becomes automatic, unstoppable, and life-changing. Murphy taught that the subconscious is a creature of habit. It does not respond to intensity. It responds to consistency. It does not change through dramatic gestures. It changes through repeated, patient, relentless impressions. And the most effective way to create those impressions is not to attempt everything at once in a burst of enthusiasm that burns out by day 3. The most effective way is to build gradually, layer by layer, week by week, until the new pattern is so deeply embedded that the old pattern simply has no room to operate. This protocol follows that wisdom. It begins with awareness, it progresses to replacement, it deepens with integration, and it expands into full expression. Each week builds upon the last. Each week prepares your subconscious for the next level of impression. And by day 30, you will be operating a completely different mental program than the one you started with. Week 1, the week of pure awareness. Your only task during the first 7 days is to observe. You do not try to change anything yet. You do not force new affirmations. You do not pressure yourself to visualize perfectly. You simply watch your own mind. You become a scientist studying the subject of your own thoughts, and you write down what you discover. Every morning when you wake, before you open your eyes, notice the first thought that appears. Is it worry about the day ahead? Is it dread about a task you must face? Is it replaying an argument from yesterday? Or is it something neutral, something positive, something hopeful? Do not judge it. Simply record it in your notebook. This is your baseline. This is the current programming running on autopilot. Throughout the day, carry your notebook with you. Every time you catch yourself saying something negative, write it down. Every time you complain, write it down. Every time you describe a problem, a limitation, a fear, a disappointment, write it down. Do not try to stop yourself yet. Do not try to reverse it yet. Simply observe and record. You are creating an inventory of your current dominant ideas. You are mapping the old programming so you know exactly what you are replacing. Every evening before sleep, review your list. Look at the patterns. Notice how many times you spoke lack instead of abundance. Notice how many times you described illness instead of health. Notice how many times you reinforced fear instead of confidence. This is not meant to discourage you. This is meant to show you exactly why your life has expressed these patterns. Your subconscious has been receiving these impressions all day, every day, for years. And it has been faithfully creating experiences that match them. At the end of week 1, you will have a clear picture of your current mental diet. You will see the specific beliefs that have been running your engine room, and you will be ready to begin replacing them. Week 2, the week of single affirmation. Now you introduce one affirmation, just one, not 5, not 10. 1. Choose the affirmation that most directly addresses your one desire. Make it short, positive, present tense, and personal. Write it at the top of a fresh page in your notebook, and commit to saying it 50 times every day. 50 times sounds like a lot. It is not. It takes approximately 10 minutes if you say it with intention and feeling. You can distribute it throughout your day, 10 times when you wake, 10 times in the shower, 10 times while you prepare breakfast, 10 times in your car, 10 times before bed, or you can do 2 sessions of 25. The distribution does not matter. The consistency matters. The feeling matters. The repetition matters. Each time you say your affirmation, create your mental scene briefly. Let the scene generate the feeling. Let the feeling charge the words. If you miss a session, do not punish yourself. Simply resume at the next opportunity. Do not double up to compensate. Do not skip the next day because you failed yesterday. Just continue. Your subconscious responds to the overall pattern, not to perfection. During week 2, continue your awareness practice from week 1. But now, when you catch yourself saying something negative, you stop, you reverse it. You replace it with your affirmation. The complaint about traffic becomes infinite intelligence guides me in all my affairs. The worry about money becomes wealth is flowing to me now. The description of fatigue becomes my body is strong and full of energy. You are no longer just observing your old programming. You are actively interrupting it. By the end of week 2, you will notice something subtle but real. The negative thoughts will still appear, but they will feel less automatic. They will feel more like visitors and less like residents. Your affirmation will start appearing in your mind without deliberate effort. You will wake up and hear it before you consciously choose to say it. This is your subconscious beginning to receive the new impression. This is the first sign of reprogramming. Week 3, the week of deep integration. Now you add the sleep technique and the visualization method to your daily affirmation practice. Every night before bed, you spend 10 minutes in deliberate reprogramming. You get comfortable. You state your desire in one clear sentence. You create your 30-second scene. You feel the reality of it deeply, and you drift to sleep in that feeling. This is where the transformation accelerates, because you are now impressing your subconscious during its most receptive state. You are using the theta wave window to plant new seeds with maximum emotional charge. And you are doing it after a full day of affirmations that have already prepared the ground. Continue your 50 daily affirmations during week 3. Continue reversing negative statements when you catch them, but now add one new practice. Every morning when you wake, before you open your eyes, return to your scene. Feel it for 2 minutes. Let it be the first impression of your new day. This morning reinforcement, combined with the nighttime impression, creates a 24-hour cycle of programming that your subconscious cannot ignore. During week 3, you may experience what Murphy called the darkness before the dawn. Old fears may surface. Old doubts may become louder. This is not failure. This is the old programming resisting replacement. It is like a tenant being evicted who suddenly claims they never had problems before. Your subconscious is testing whether you are serious about the new impression. Stay consistent. Stay patient. Do not interpret the resistance as evidence that the method is not working. Interpret it as evidence that it is working, that the old pattern is being challenged, that change is actually happening beneath the surface. Week 4, the week of full expansion. Now everything comes together. You continue the sleep technique every night. You continue the morning feeling every day. You continue your affirmations, though by now they may feel so natural that you no longer need to count them. And you add 2 final elements. First, you introduce gratitude. Every night before your sleep technique, you list 3 things you are grateful for, not generic things, specific things from that day, a conversation, a meal, a moment of beauty, a small win. Gratitude is the emotional state that most powerfully opens your subconscious to receive new impressions. It dissolves resistance. It creates receptivity. It tells your subconscious that you are already blessed, which makes the impression of further blessing feel natural rather than desperate. Second, you begin a 1-line journal. Every evening, you write 1 sentence about something that went well that day, something that moved you toward your desire, something that surprised you with its positivity, something that confirmed the new programming is taking effect, even if you have to search for it, even if it seems small, especially if it seems small, because your subconscious is looking for evidence that the new pattern is working. And when you record that evidence, you reinforce the new pattern with the power of your own attention. By day 30, you will look back at your notebook and see a transformation that was invisible while it was happening. You will see your first-week negative thoughts replaced by second-week affirmations. You will see your third-week struggles followed by fourth-week evidence. You will see that your dominant ideas have shifted, and you will know with certainty that your subconscious has received a new impression and is already expressing it. Murphy told a story about a woman who followed this exact protocol for financial abundance. During week 1, she discovered she spoke about money negatively 47 times per day. During week 2, her single affirmation was, "Wealth is flowing to me now from expected and unexpected sources." During week 3, she added the sleep technique and woke one morning with an idea for a side business she had never considered. During week 4, she recorded a small unexpected refund, a gift from a friend, and a new client inquiry. By day 45, her side business was generating more income than her main job. By day 90, she had quit her job and was working full-time on her passion. She did not win the lottery. She did not receive a mysterious inheritance. Her subconscious, programmed for abundance, simply began to notice opportunities, take actions, and attract circumstances that her old poverty programming had blinded her to. This is what the protocol does. It does not change the world, it changes your mind, and your changed mind changes how you see the world, how you respond to the world, and what you create in the world. The opportunities were always there, the connections were always possible, the ideas were always available, but your old programming filtered them out. Your new programming brings them into focus. You now have your map. You know what to do in week 1, you know what to add in week 2, you know what to deepen in week 3, you know what to expand in week 4, and you know that beyond 30 days, this protocol simply becomes your new way of living. The sleep technique becomes as automatic as brushing your teeth. The affirmations become as natural as breathing. The visualization becomes your default mental state rather than a deliberate practice. And the silence principle becomes so ingrained that negative speech feels foreign and uncomfortable. But there is one more gift Murphy gave the world. There is one more tool that makes this entire journey easier, smoother, and more certain. It is not a technique. It is not a method. It is an experience. It is the guided sleep practice that takes you through every step while you are already drifting into the theta state. It is the practice you will use tonight. It is the practice you will use every night. And it is waiting for you in the final chapter. Your 30 days begin tonight. Your notebook is ready. Your desire is clear. Your tools are sharp. And your subconscious is waiting for the most consistent, most patient, most loving programming it has ever received. Follow the map, trust the process, and watch your life transform. Chapter 9, The Sleep Activation, Tonight's Practice. You have traveled through every chapter of this method. You have learned the architecture of your mind. You have received the master key of the sleep technique. You have committed to the law of repetition. You have embraced the silence principle. You have armed yourself with affirmations that work. You have constructed vivid scenes that your subconscious cannot ignore. You have mapped your 30-day protocol. And now you arrive at the threshold. This is not another chapter to read. This is not more information to absorb. This is the practice itself. This is the guided session you will use tonight. This is the activation that transforms everything you have learned into a lived experience. So settle into your bed, adjust your pillows, let your body sink into comfort, and allow your voice to slow, to soften, to guide you across the bridge between waking and sleeping. Begin by taking 3 slow, deep breaths, in through your nose, out through your mouth. With each exhale, feel your body releasing tension, feel your shoulders dropping away from your ears, feel your jaw unclenching, feel your hands opening, feel your legs becoming heavy. You are safe, you are supported, you are exactly where you need to be. Now bring to mind 3 things you are grateful for. They do not need to be grand, they can be small, they can be simple, perhaps the warmth of your bed, perhaps the breath in your lungs, perhaps a moment of kindness you received today. Hold each one for a few seconds, feel the gratitude expand in your chest, let it warm you, let it soften you. Gratitude is the key that unlocks your subconscious. Gratitude is the state that makes you receptive. Gratitude is your opening. Now recall your one desire, the one you wrote at the beginning of this session, the one that represents your deepest wish for transformation. State it to yourself in one clear sentence. Say it as a fact, not a hope, not a wish, a fact. I am now, I have, I am experiencing. Let the words settle in your mind. Let them feel natural. Let them feel true. Now create your scene, the 30-second mental movie that implies your desire is fulfilled. See it vividly, see the colors, hear the sounds, feel the textures, smell the air, taste the moment. But most importantly, feel the feeling. How would you feel if this were real right now? Would your chest expand with relief? Would your face relax into a smile? Would your breathing deepen with peace? Would your heart race with excitement? Whatever the feeling is, generate it now. Let it grow. Let it spread. Let it become more real than your current surroundings. You are not pretending. You are impressing. You are giving your subconscious a new command. You are planting a seed in the most fertile soil available to you. The soil of sleep. The soil of theta waves. The soil where your conscious resistance has dissolved and your faithful servant waits for direction. Now let the scene fade. Let the images dissolve into pure feeling. Let the feeling become a warm glow in your chest. Let the glow expand through your body, down your arms, into your hands, down your legs, into your feet, up through your neck, into your face. Let every cell of your body be bathed in this feeling. Let every part of you know that your desire is fulfilled, that it is done, that it is accomplished, that it is real. And as you drift deeper into sleep, let this feeling be your companion. Let it be the last impression you give your subconscious before the night takes over. Let it echo in the chambers of your mind. Let it resonate in the silence. Let it become the whisper that your subconscious hears and obeys. Your subconscious never sleeps. It is listening right now. It is accepting your feeling as fact. It is beginning to build the blueprint of your new reality. It is aligning your perceptions, your actions, your energy, your circumstances with the dominant impression you have just given it. And it will continue this work through the night, through your dreams, through the deep restoration of your body and mind, until the morning light wakes you to a new day. When you wake tomorrow, before you open your eyes, return to this feeling. Do not reach for your phone. Do not think about your problems. Do not let the old programming rush in. Simply feel your desire fulfilled for 2 minutes. Let it be the first impression of your new day. Let it set the tone. Let it establish the dominant idea that will guide your subconscious through every moment of your waking hours. You are now a practitioner. You are no longer a seeker. You are no longer a reader. You are someone who uses the night to create the day. You are someone who understands that sleep is not escape. Sleep is work. Sleep is creation. Sleep is the most powerful reprogramming tool you possess, and you are using it with intention, with discipline, with love. Tonight is the first night of your new life. Tomorrow is the first day of your new reality. The 30-day protocol begins now. The repetition begins now. The transformation begins now. And every night from this night forward, you will return to this practice. You will return to this feeling. You will return to this knowing. And you will watch as your subconscious, faithful and automatic, brings your inner world into outer expression. Your engine room has received new orders. Your faithful servant has begun its work, and your life is already changing in ways you cannot yet see. Sleep now, dream in reality, and wake to the world you have chosen. You are awake now, your eyes are open, the night has done its work, your subconscious has received its new impression, and the first choice of your new day belongs to you. Before you move, before you speak, before you reach for the distractions that wait for you, return to your feeling. 2 minutes, that is all. 2 minutes in the reality of your desire fulfilled. Let it be the first thought. Let it be the first feeling. Let it be the dominant idea that colors every hour ahead of you. You have your notebook. You have your desire. You have your affirmation. You have your scene. You have your protocol. You have everything you need to transform the next 30 days into the foundation of a completely new life. And you have the sleep technique that turns every night into a reprogramming session. Bookmark this session. Return to Chapter 3 when you need to remember the master key. Return to Chapter 6 when you need your daytime weapon. Return to Chapter 9 when you need the guided practice. And return to Chapter 8 when you need to check your map. Your words are your wand. Your feeling is your command. Your subconscious is your faithful servant. And your life is the masterpiece you are creating, one impression at a time. Drop a moon below if you are using this tonight. Share this with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Mindset Audiobooks for the next transformation, and wake up to the world you have chosen.